Powered by Go-Goat Sports in partnership with TSN, it is episode 51 of the Dregs Hockey Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, Canadian Club Whiskey. Exciting podcast today. We've got NHL player agent and a strong advocate for the LGBTQ plus community. Bane Pettinger is going to join us to talk about the goings-on, right, as teams continue to celebrate and do their work around the various Pride nights around the National Hockey League, including those who opt out. So we'll get Bane Pettinger's take on all of that coming up. Headlines, right? I mean, we can go any different direction today, man. We've got so many battles, especially in the Eastern Conference. A handful of teams have locked down their playoff spots, but we promised last week that we'd dive into that. And so that's what we'll do. You've got Boston, you've got Toronto, you've got Carolina, New Jersey. The Rangers have all clinched. The Tampa Bay Lightning are right on the cusp. So that'll be 6 teams, which then leaves the wild card battle. And it looks like the Islanders are in good shape, right? To hold down that 7th spot. We'll see. There's still some hockey left. Then you look at Pittsburgh, Florida, Buffalo, and Ottawa. So for you, is it a 2-horse race between Pittsburgh and Florida, or do you still have Buffalo and Ottawa? I mean, mathematically, they're in the mix. Do you see them being in the mix with 8-9 games left, depending on who you talk to?
Sorta, kinda.
Yeah.
I think I think the wild cards are the Islanders and Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I did the game Saturday night in Pittsburgh, and for a period and a half, the Penguins looked awesome. It was a really exciting, fast 0-0 game. Lots of chances. Casey DeSmith was in goal and was outstanding. Then Pittsburgh gets 2 goals from Ryan Poehling and Chad Ruhwedel. Ruhwedel hadn't scored since last year. Mm-hmm. And then Zucker scores, Gensel scores early in the 3rd. And it's like, oh, this is like what the Penguins should look like. And then they gave it all away. Oof. Then it's 3-3. So they're all over the map. They win on a beautiful goal from Malkin. Great goal. But the reason I bring this up is they're on the cusp, like the Capitals now, who are going to fall, are going to miss the playoffs. They're on the cusp of the ball turning over in Pittsburgh a little bit here. Mm-hmm. They're just not as good as they used to be. It's starting to happen in Tampa. You can see the Lightning are just not the team that they were, last year, certainly 3 years ago. They just aren't. Time and the salary cap gets everybody. But I think the Islanders and the Penguins are going to be the wild cards. The other race is going to be whether the Devils can catch Carolina or not. I don't think so. I think Carolina will win that division, and the Atlantic division's set in stone.
Central Division is just bonkers right now, right? You got Minnesota, Colorado, Dallas, all within 3 points of one another, and we'll go there in a second. But take us into the Pacific, where the LA Kings have done so much good of late for an extended period. I mean, they're coming off a perfect week. Victor Arvidsson, terrific fit with the Los Angeles Kings, first star of the week in the National Hockey League. They're 2 back of Vegas, and that's the problem for the LA Kings. Not a problem, it's just the reality. I mean, LA's on a bit of a heater. They've won 3, but there's the Golden Knights who have won 4 in a row. So try and make sense of what might happen out of that division, or maybe even across the conference.
Well, the Kings now, they're 10-0-2 since on this latest stretch that they're on. Up until that bonkers game against St. Louis that they won 7-6, in the 11 previous Dregs, they had they'd not given up more than 2 goals in a game. And when I think of the Kings, I'm like, that's when they're at their best, even though they can score now. Like they've got a team that can put some goals on the board, but they're better. Yeah. They have a better look when they're more responsible, I'll say, but also when their goaltending's better. Korpisalo hasn't lost since he's come over. In his, he's 4-0-1 since he's been acquired from Columbus. Copley got the win the other night, and he gave up 6. So that that's going to be a decision they've got for LA. But they can score. I just looked up here, 15-2-3 since the All-Star break. I mean, that's that's great stuff. And it's put them in a position to challenge Vegas. And Vegas is interesting because they don't score a lot. They're the only team in NHL history to win 4 straight games with 4 different goalies. Like, how does that even happen?
I know.
Ridiculous. And now, so tonight I'm in Vegas and for the Oilers here, and I think, I don't know. I think it's going to be Brossoit in goal again, but it's either Brossoit or Quick. And so, Brossoit was hurt at the start of the year. Quick wasn't here. These are their 2 goalies. Like, what a crazy thing. They don't have a scorer in the top 50 points in the league. And yet they got 95, 96 no, 98 points. So those 2 teams they'll go right to the wire. They've got a game against each other in a week or so, but Edmonton's the one sitting there, and they're like, if you're the Oilers, you can impact who you play by how you play. Like, they play Vegas tonight. They play LA next week. So it's the Oilers are going to get whichever one doesn't win the division, and it's not going to be easy.
No. Speaking of the Oilers, I mean, you've got Leon Draisaitl, who's closing in on another 50-goal season. But talk about 2 players who are absolutely on a roll, right? Well, David Pastrnak of the Boston Bruins, just chips in 50. Why wouldn't he? Fresh off the contract extension, he's highly motivated, as he has been all year. And Matt Boldy, what a month he's had in the month of March, and March isn't over yet. So this guy is he's just pouring the puck in the net by his standards.
Yeah, I will. I'll start with Pastrnak, one of my most favorite players and personalities in the league. I love the way he always seems to just show his love for the game. He's got this vibe about him. He's tough. Tough in the sense that he'll go and find a puck that other players won't get to, and he scores in tight. He scores from distance. He's got great skill. Amazing player to watch. First Boston Bruin in 28 years to score 50 goals. Cam Neely was the last one in 93, 94. You'd think they would have had somebody between then and now, but Pastrnak gets to 50. Now, Matt Boldy's, his hot streak came at a amazing time for the Wild. Without Kirill Kaprizov, their star, he's got 13 goals or 13 games, 12 goals in the month of March. And I've had Matt Boldy described to me as a little bit like Mikko Rantanen. Rantanen's going to get 50 goals this year too. These guys, they're both big, really good hands, and they can both really shoot it. So Boldy got his second hat trick of the month yesterday. The Wild are rolling along there. And so they're, what are they? 15-1-4 in their last 20. 15-1-4.
It's unreal.
And man, Dean Evison he runs those guys in a way that is emotional yet mostly controlled. Like, they don't take a lot of bad penalties. They get off the track a little bit, but Dean's an emotional guy. They play in an extension, I think, of his personality. And in a crazy division, they're on an incredible stretch.
All right, let's wrap up headlines with a fun one. I'm sure you saw the Pezzetta shootout goal.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Pezzetta's probably not known for his hands in terms of scoring prowess. Who's kidding who?
Right.
Sits on the bench through half the third period and overtime, watches the shootout go 5 rounds, tapped on the shoulder. All right, get it done. He gets it done, and then vintage homage to Tiger Williams, he rides his stick in celebration. What a terrific sequence for a pretty well-liked teammate, I would think, in Montreal.
Well, I watched it this morning, actually, as I was going through the highlights, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, it's just like, it was so unexpected when he turned the corner after he scored. He made a nice shot, by the way.
Beautiful shot.
Really nice shot. And so we had some fun with it. I think it's awesome. How about the other day, Jake DeBrusk scores in the shootout, and right before he goes to shoot, he turns to the bench, gives him a wink, and says, that he had something up his sleeve, and he scored. I've come around a long way on this. I love the personality of we've talked about 3 players now. So DeBrusk winking before a shootout, Pezzetta riding the stick. Like, Tiger Williams and Pastrnak with all kinds of flair. I think it's great stuff. I just love it. I love watching it. And for Pezzetta, that had to be really fun.
Perfect way to wrap the headlines. And a reminder, our interviews on Ray and Dregs this year are brought to you by Canadian Club Whiskey, who are asking, are you over beer? Try a refreshing CC ginger ale, toss in a lime next time you're having a drink or you're watching a game.